Fall leaves fall, die flowers away, lengthen night and shorten day. Every leaf speaks bliss to me, fluttering from the autumn tree. I shall smile when wreaths of snow blossom where the rose should grow. I shall sing when night's decay ushers in a drearier day. Hey friends, how are you all? Life lately has been made up of watching the leaves grow steadily molten under golden autumn sunsets, brewing lots of tea to warm my hands and heart, and slumbering a little longer in bed because of darker mornings. I love thinking about how you're all watching from different parts of the world at this very moment, and wherever you are and whatever the season, I want to send you all my love and gratitude for tuning in with me to this video. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that this video brings you a little bit of warmth and comfort. So do go grab something yummy and warm to drink, and let's get into the video. After a few days of heavy rain and dark clouds, the sun shone with all its wonder again, so I stepped outside to go thrifting for some books. I didn't have anything in mind other than knowing that I wanted to feel the sun on my skin again, and also to browse through some charity shops, so that's exactly what I did. I walked into perhaps 4 different charity shops looking to see if there were any books that stood out to me. Because I read a lot of ebooks from the library, I don't own a lot of the books that I've actually read, so I do love seeing if there are any physical copies of books that I've read and enjoyed already to purchase from charity shops. I ended up leaving only with a brand new copy of Legends and Lattes for about £2, which was an amazing steal. To be honest, I've attempted to read this book multiple times, both as an ebook as well as an audiobook, but I just couldn't get into it. I want to give it one last shot though, because I know that it's such a fundamental book in the cozy fantasy genre, so my hope is that perhaps reading it physically will help me get into the story more. I then visited my local free library and I was over the moon to have found 2 different books that I really wanted physical copies of. One being Cursed Bunny by Changbora, which is a horror short story collection, and the other being Normal People by Sally Rooney. I read both books last year and they left a lasting impression on me, so even if they weren't my favourites, I really wanted a copy of them, so I'm excited to have found them here. In England, university students go back to uni around this time of year at the end of September, and lately I've been seeing this trend go around where people create their own personal curriculums and share what they want to focus on this autumn, and I honestly couldn't be more excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm someone who really enjoy the structure that school and university provided. I know this isn't the case for everybody, I know it's definitely not the case for my husband, but I personally found a lot of comfort and solace in knowing exactly how to spend my time and what I had to spend my time on via the syllabus provided. So I've actually found it a lot trickier to manage my time ever since I started freelancing. Anyways, ever since I graduated uni and finished formal education, I've been playing around with the idea of further education, so I was delighted to hear that people were actually designing their own curriculums and I really wanted to join. I watched a couple of different YouTube videos to get me started and I'll link them in the description box in case you're interested, but I began by brainstorming in my notebook of different themes I was interested in reading about before eventually moving on to my laptop and outlining a syllabus on Google Docs. During this time, I researched different free learning resources that I could possibly intertwine into my different units, and I suppose 2 of my units were really just based off of books that I wanted to read, which is fine because it's a personal curriculum. I then created a Notion page dedicated to my personal curriculum so that I could keep a more detailed track of everything. I based my study planner on a template that was already provided by someone, so I'll also make sure to include all the details to that below in case you're interested in creating your own. So here's a quick tour of my Notion study planner. Hey friends, I hope you're all enjoying the video so far. Per my husband's suggestion, I've decided to attach the little mic onto a wooden spoon. The reason being that the mic is so small that it was getting quite fiddly as I was trying to hold it and pick other things up. So from now on, I think you're going to be seeing this wooden mic a lot. But I just wanted to sit down and share with you guys a little bit about my autumn personal curriculum. So I have created, as you will have seen in the B-roll footage, my own autumn term curriculum, and I'm so excited to share the syllabus and the different learning modules and how my credits are going to work in this particular term. I hope that this is somewhat inspiring for you guys as well and not boring. I'm a real nerd, so I've been loving all of the personal curriculum videos and seeing what people are studying this autumn. But the overarching theme that I really would love to focus on this season is, well, I've labelled it as the metaphysical and moral descent / journey of the human condition in literature and art. And that is such a mouthful, but I couldn't find a way to just sort of narrow it down, so I just word vomited on the paper there. But essentially what made me want to focus and hone in on this particular topic or topics is that I really wanted to read Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, and I believe that catabasis is a Greek term used to describe a hero's descent into the underworld. So that's the general theme of this particular autumn term, although looking here I've got plenty of things on my different syllabuses that don't quite fit that topic either, but we'll go with it anyways. I was a little bit confused as to how to structure it at first, so to help me structure everything, what I did was actually go onto my university website and I clicked on my actual course outline for the course I studied between 2018 to 2021, and going through the different units helped me to have a better understanding of how I could create my own syllabus. So between the end of September and mid-December, I'm hoping to really study 4 different units. Each unit is going to be worth 20 credits, and I need 80 credits at the end of term to have passed the autumn term. And just to make it more fun for me and motivating, I decided that for every 20 credits, it's going to give me 1 book token, which essentially is that I can buy a book. Anyways, that's the overall structure, and let's get into the actual nitty-gritty of what I want to focus on this term. Okay, so the very first unit is called Catabasis, Hell and the Hero's Journey. The syllabus objectives are as follows: to understand catabasis as a Greek mythological depiction of a hero's metaphysical journey to the underworld, to gain a fuller understanding of Christian theology on hell and the problem of evil, as well as to examine how popular authors like R.F. Kuang have interpreted hell. So those are the learning objectives, but within each unit I've sort of broken things down, so core books to read and core learning materials that I have to study, as well as optional reads which are just for extra credit points, and all those extra credit points will later be added on so that I can buy more books. And for this first unit, my very first core book to read is of course Catabasis. So I have to read and finish Catabasis in order to gain 5 credits for this unit. I'm not going to talk too much about this book because I've mentioned it in literally every single video over the past month or so, but I'm very excited to read it. And Catabasis is really the book that kickstarted this entire desire to create my own personal curriculum, because I knew that I wanted to read it this autumn, and I also knew that I wanted to annotate it and really go dig deep into it. So I'll probably be filming a reading vlog, reading Catabasis and doing annotations and lovely things like that. The only other core book that I have to read for another 5 credits is the Divine Comedy by Dante, but more specifically Inferno. So Inferno is one of 3 books within the Divine Comedy, and it's actually something that I read partially when I was at uni for a course that I was studying. I believe that R.F. Kuang was inspired by the Divine Comedy, so it's going to be really interesting to see if there are any parallels between the 2 books. And then some optional reads in case I finish those 2 are The Odyssey by Homer, The Problem of Pain by C.S. Lewis, and The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis as well. I actually read both C.S. Lewis books, and they're right behind me, right? They're just over there, but I read those 2 maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they were just so incredible and I'd love to revisit them. And then my big homework on top of the reading is to create an artwork inspired by the unit for 10 credits. I really wanted to be able to combine my love for reading and my love for drawing and for art in these particular units, and it's reflected in the homework so that I can create something inspired by the stories that I read. I think it'll be a real fun challenge. And moving on to the second unit, I've called it Exploring Gothic Classics and Modern Dark Academia Literature. The objectives for this syllabus is to read key books that shape the Gothic and Dark Academia literary landscape, to identify how Gothic and Dark Academia novels express the human condition as well. So the two core books that I have to read to pass the unit are Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte as well as The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I thought it'd be good to include one Gothic classic that I haven't read, and Wuthering Heights is one that I would love to get to this year, as well as reading one of the most the foundational read for Dark Academia, which is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and one that I've never read before. I'm really hoping to enjoy those two novels this year, and in case those two weren't enough and I wanted some extra credits for more book tokens, I have my optional reads here. So in no particular order, we have Jane Eyre, Dracula, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, Rebecca, Frankenstein, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, as well as poems by Edgar Allan Poe. There are a couple here that I have read before, but most of these will be very much new to me, so I'm so excited and hopefully I'll have enough time to get to them. And the homework is to create an artwork also inspired by this particular unit, as well as watching a Wuthering Heights adaptation, and I've jotted here possibly 1992 or the 1998 version, but I've never watched a Wuthering Heights adaptation before, so if you guys could recommend me the best one if you've watched one, I'd love to hear your recommendations. And I've also added watching the Dead Poets Society as some extra additional media in case I wanted to watch more things. Now the next two units are slightly different from the first two that I just mentioned. This third unit is Introduction to Creative Writing. Now over the past couple of years I've spent a lot of time dreaming about writing and maybe writing a couple thousand words and exploring different concepts and story ideas, but I've never ever managed to finish writing a book or a story. It's an absolute dream of mine to one day be able to either draw and write my own graphic novel story or just to write my own book one day. So I'm really hoping that with this particular unit it's going to inspire me, it's going to educate me and really make it more of an intentional time for me to learn about writing and get started. So the objectives are to learn the basic skill sets of creating writing, to gain confidence in writing a short story, and to start and finish a personal creative writing project, be that a graphic novel or short story. Now I had a lot of different core books that I could potentially read, but I didn't want to stretch myself too thin across all 4 units, so I decided to just settle on Writing by Stephen King. This is actually a book that Ian read before, and so it's his that I am going to try and read this particular season. I know that it's supposed to be incredibly informative, so I'm really looking forward to it. So that is On Writing for 5 credits, and then I thought it would be really fun to have a lecture series for me to watch, and I knew that Brandon Sanderson has this entire writing lecture series on YouTube, and I believe that there are 16 episodes that make up the lecture series, and they're about an hour or an hour and 20 minutes long each. So I am aiming to sit down and watch and learn from the lecture, one lecture a week. And for some optional reads, I have Letters to a Young Poet, which is something that I read a while back and adored. I've also got Seeing Beauty and Saying Beautifully by John Piper, which I also loved and really was inspired by. And I also put down Garlic and the Witch in case I want to read it and be inspired for my graphic novel ideas. I'd also love to rewatch Over the Garden Wall for inspiration, and my homework is to create a graphic novel or short story maximum 5,000 words. And I don't know, we'll see how I get on with it because I'm just a little bit intimidated. I've started so many things and have never been able to finish them. So hopefully through this homework, I'll be able to make some actual progress. Okay, and last but not least, we have my fourth unit, and it is the beginner's Japanese unit. As some of you guys will know, I've been studying Japanese for the past couple of months now, and I've been having a great time, but I would love to have more of an in-depth focus when it comes to learning Japanese. So my syllabus objectives are to gain confidence in reading Japanese, to read and write hiragana and katakana fluently, and also to learn beginner's kanji. I'm actually really happy to say that I can read hiragana and katakana fluently. It's just the writing. Sometimes I get a little bit confused and I forget certain characters, so I just want to get that out of the way and be really fluent on it so that it doesn't hinder me whenever I'm like trying to read Japanese. For this unit is really fun because the core learning materials are pretty much the different picture books that I picked up in Japan. First one I have is Futari wa Tomodachi, and I am so excited for this one. It's a book that I picked up in Japan and it's basically Toad and Frog. I think that's what you call it in English. Another book that I'd love to get to is Obakeyasan. This one has a lot more characters in it than Futari wa Tomodachi, so I might have to read this last, I think. Another book I have to read is Crayon Shin-chan, which I am so excited for. Oh my gosh, this has a lot more characters in it than I remember it having. Okay, so this one and the previous one I'm going to read last. And actually this fourth one is probably one I should read first, but this is Shirayuki Hime, and it's like a telling of Snow White in Japanese. I say that I should read this one first because this one is definitely for a slightly younger audience. It's a picture book, so there are lots of pictures and the hiragana is a lot larger, so it'll be easier for me to read. Some other learning materials to draw from are the Tadoku ebooks online, as well as Yomu JP, as well as Yomimono Ippai, and I also found this amazing source online called the Wesley Robertson Workbook, and this professor has essentially created this free online resource for people who are learning Japanese. I don't know if I'll be able to get to that this time of year, but I'm hoping that maybe next term I will focus on doing the workbook. Anyways, my homework is to maintain my Duolingo streak, as well as 15 minutes of reading / listening every single day. And then for fun, I can listen to and watch some Studio Ghibli movies in Japanese. So that is essentially my autumn term in a nutshell for you guys. If you guys are planning on creating your autumn personal curriculum as well, I'd love to know what sort of things you're focusing on this year. I think it's amazing that people are inspiring each other to carry on studying even if we're not maybe in school anymore, and creating all of these different syllabuses has actually really helped me to organize my thoughts, organize what I want to prioritize this autumn. I knew that I wanted to focus on all of these different things or touch upon all these different things, but previous years I've just sort of let things float by without really doing anything about it. So I'm really pleased that I got to intentionally create this personal syllabus for myself, and I'm just so excited to get started and begin learning everything that I want to this term. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions about creating your own personal curriculum, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to get back to every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next cozy video very soon. Bye friends.